Admiral Pax'lo stood on the command deck of the Hegemony flagship, Eternal Glory, his 4 golden eyes narrowed at the view screen. His scaled skin shimmered under the ambient light as he tapped his claws impatiently against the polished command console. So, this is the famed humanity we've heard whispers about? One pathetic ship? He let out a warbling laugh that his bridge crew quickly mimicked. Seriously? The reports claimed they were dangerous. Lieutenant Mavek, his second-in-command, zoomed in on the lone human vessel hovering near Jupiter's orbit. It appears to be a scientific vessel, Admiral. Minimal armaments. Crew of approximately 25. 25 creatures on a tin can? That's not a warship, that's... What do the Zalaxians call it? Ah yes, a food truck. Pax'lo's joke sent ripples of laughter across the bridge. Prep the capture teams. I want that ship intact for my trophy wall. Commander Drell, the tactical officer, raised a tentacle in concern. Sir, protocol suggests we establish communication first. The Hegemony Charter clearly states, the Charter also states that Level 2 civilizations are fair game for collection. Pax'lo interrupted, slamming his fist down. Look at their primitive propulsion systems. They're barely interplanetary. Send 3 boarding ships. That's generous considering we have 50 warships in this fleet. The boarding vessels detached smoothly from the Hegemony fleet, sleek predators heading toward unsuspecting prey. Admiral Pax'lo reclined in his command chair, already mentally placing the human ship in his vast collection of conquered species artifacts. Human vessel detected energy spike. Mavek suddenly shouted, his voice cracking with alarm. Pax'lo leaned forward. What? Impossible. Their technology is, the first boarding ship exploded in a brilliant flash. Not from any energy weapon, but from what appeared to be kinetic projectiles. They're using bullets? In space? Pax'lo bellowed incredulously. The human ship executed a maneuver that defied the Hegemony's prediction algorithms, spinning while releasing what appeared to be space mines. Second boarding ship hit. Critical damage. Third boarding ship reports humans have boarded them. Pax'lo stood up, mandibles clicking in confusion. That's not possible. How did they, sir? The humans are using some kind of magnetic boots to run across the vacuum between ships. They're cutting through our hull with. Are those handheld plasma torches? 3 Hegemony destroyers moved in to contain the situation. Within minutes, 2 were dead in space, their systems compromised by what Tactical described as crude but effective computer viruses delivered via physical data drives stabbed into control panels. Retreat. Pax'lo finally ordered, watching in horror as the human ship, now joined by 3 more vessels that seemed to materialize from Jupiter's moons, pursued them with reckless abandon. As the Hegemony fleet jumped to safety, Pax'lo stared at the casualty report, 5 ships lost, 3 captured. To 1 human vessel that wasn't even a warship. What in the 17 hells are these creatures? He whispered, #only 1 ship. Congratulations, you just declared war on the most lethal species alive. Part 2, the intelligence briefing. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Hegemony buzzed with nervous energy. 7 representatives of the dominant spacefaring species sat at the elevated crescent table, looking down at Admiral Pax'lo, who stood rigidly at attention, his normally lustrous scales now dull with stress. You lost 5 warships to 1 human vessel? High Counselor Vrazka's voice thundered across the chamber. A scientific vessel, no less? Am I understanding this correctly, Admiral? Pax'lo swallowed hard. High Council, I request permission to introduce Intelligence Officer Nira Valakshan, who has compiled critical information about these humans. Nira stepped forward, her sleek feathered crest bristling with nervous energy. The holographic projector activated as she tapped her wrist device. Esteemed Council, humans appear primitive, but they're actually terrifying. Their home world, Earth, has such extreme environmental variations that they've evolved to survive almost anywhere. Unlike us, who evolved in stable environments, they thrive on chaos. The display showed humans climbing mountains, diving into oceans, and surviving in deserts. Their entire history is warfare, Nira continued, flipping through images of human battles. Most species have 2 to 3 conflicts before achieving peace. Humans have had thousands. They fight constantly, even among themselves. Counselor Trazul scoffed. All primitive species have violent periods. With respect, Counselor, Nira countered, the average hegemony citizen experiences 0 combat in their lifetime. An average human? They've practiced killing scenarios in games since childhood. Their entertainment is simulated violence. Their greeting rituals involve grasping appendages to prove they're not holding weapons. Pax'lo nodded gravely. The boarding team reports humans fought with improvised weapons. One human disabled 3 elite warriors with a food heating device. A what? Gasped a counselor. They called it a microwave. They removed safety features and turned it into an electromagnetic pulse generator. In minutes. High Counselor Vrazka waved dismissively. Clever tricks won't stand against our full might. Admiral, you will take the Grand Fleet, all 500 ships, and subjugate these humans immediately. As the council session ended, Pax'lo grabbed Nira's arm in a quiet corridor. They're not listening, he hissed. Nira's eyes darted nervously. I didn't even get to the worst part. Humans don't just survive wars, they innovate during them. Their technological leaps always coincide with conflicts. And they've been at peace for nearly a decade. Meaning? Meaning we just ended their peace period. We didn't find humans randomly. They allowed us to find them. That scientific vessel? It was bait. Pax'lo felt his stomach sink. What have we done? Nira's voice dropped to a whisper. We've given the most combat-hungry species in the galaxy exactly what they've been preparing for. A new challenge. Hashtag only one ship? Congratulations, you just declared war on the most lethal species alive. Hashtag Part 3. The battle that wasn't the hegemony Grand Fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, 500 warships arranged in the legendary Fist of Dominance pattern that had broken the will of 17 civilizations before. Admiral Pax'lo stood at the command center, anxiety gnawing at his insides despite the overwhelming firepower at his disposal. Scans complete, Admiral, Lieutenant Mavek reported. Earth defenses appear minimal. Primitive satellite network, small orbital stations, approximately 30 military vessels. Nothing that should concern us. Pax'lo flicked his tongue nervously. And yet I am concerned. Commence the standard intimidation protocol. The fleet's forward batteries charged, preparing to obliterate Earth's moon as a demonstration of power, a tactic that had caused instant surrenders in previous conquests. Admiral. Incoming transmission from Earth. Mavek exclaimed. The view screen activated, revealing a human female with dark skin, sharp eyes, and a confident smirk that sent chills down Pax'lo's spine. This is Captain Lena Blackwood of Earth Defense Force. I see you brought friends this time. She leaned forward, her smile widening. How thoughtful, we were worried we wouldn't have enough targets for weapons testing. Surrender your planet or face annihilation, Pax'lo declared, following the script that had worked countless times before. Captain Blackwood yawned theatrically. Yeah, about that. We've prepared a small welcome package. Nothing fancy. Suddenly, alarms blared across the hegemony fleet as hundreds of seemingly dormant satellites activated simultaneously. Not weapons platforms, communication relays. What is this? Pax'lo demanded. The answer came as Earth's supposedly primitive rockets launched what appeared to be Metal canisters? Are they attacking us with garbage? Commander Drell laughed. The laughter died when the canisters burst open, releasing millions of tiny metallic particles that spread into a cloud surrounding the Hegemony ships. Moments later, the particles activated, generating an electromagnetic web that disabled navigation systems across 80% of the fleet. Status report. Pax'lo shouted as his flagship's lights flickered. They're using our own momentum against us. Mavek cried. The electromagnetic particles are causing our ships to drift into each other. On screen, Captain Blackwood casually filed her nails. Oh, by the way, we've also taken control of your communication systems. We're broadcasting your leadership's panic to every ship in your fleet. Bad for morale, I imagine. Pax'lo watched in horror as human vessels, not 30, but 300, emerged from hiding positions behind Earth's moon, each towing what appeared to be modified asteroids. You've been stockpiling rocks as weapons? Pax'lo gasped. We call it practical recycling, Blackwood replied. Surrender in the next 10 minutes, or we start playing interplanetary billiards with your pretty formation. As his officers reported catastrophic failures throughout the fleet, Pax'lo realized with sinking dread, this wasn't a battle. It was a trap. And they'd walked right into it, #only one ship? Congratulations, you just declared war on the most lethal species alive. Part 4, the terms of surrender. The Grand Conference Room of the Eternal Glory had been hastily converted into a surrender negotiation chamber. Admiral Pax'lo sat rigidly at one end of the ornate table, flanked by his remaining officers. Their mandibles clicked nervously as Captain Lena Blackwood strolled in, accompanied by only 2 unarmed human guards. No battle fleet accompanying you? Pax'lo asked, unable to hide his surprise at her confidence. Blackwood shrugged, dropping casually into the chair opposite him. Didn't seem necessary. Besides, we've already hacked your life support systems. One wrong move, and this room gets a little airless. She smiled sweetly. Hope you don't mind that we took that precaution. You've made your point about human ingenuity, Pax'lo conceded, pushing a data tablet forward. These are the standard Hegemony surrender terms. We offer our unconditional. Blackwood burst out laughing, nearly falling out of her chair. Oh my God, you think we want your planets? That's hilarious. She wiped an actual tear from her eye. Admiral, we just want you to leave us alone. That's it. Pax'lo blinked all 4 eyes in confusion. You don't want tribute? Resource rights? Slave labor? Gross, no, Blackwood replied, wrinkling her nose. Look, we've spent our entire history fighting each other. We're really, really good at it. But recently, we decided maybe we should try something new, like not killing stuff. We were doing pretty well until you showed up and started shooting. So, you want nothing from us? Pax'lo couldn't comprehend this concept. Just a non-aggression pact and open trade, if you're interested. Maybe cultural exchanges. Your music is fascinating, all those subharmonic frequencies. Blackwood leaned forward. We're explorers, Admiral. Fighters when we need to be, but explorers by choice. As they hammered out the surprisingly reasonable terms, Pax'lo found himself increasingly curious about this strange species. If I may ask, Captain, how did a scientific vessel defeat our elite boarding teams? Blackwood's smile turned enigmatic. Oh, that wasn't a scientific vessel. That was our equivalent of a kindergarten field trip. Graduate students testing theoretical physics principles. They improvised. Pax'lo's scales paled. Students did that? They were very excited to get some hands-on experience. As the meeting concluded and Blackwood prepared to depart, Pax'lo felt compelled to ask, the weapons you used against our fleet? The electromagnetic webs, the asteroid projectiles. Is that truly the extent of human military technology? Captain Blackwood paused at the doorway, her expression suddenly serious. Admiral, everything you saw today was designed and implemented in the 3 weeks since your first contact. None of it existed before you attacked our research vessel. That's impossible, Pax'lo whispered. We didn't show you our real capabilities, Blackwood said quietly. And pray to whatever gods you worship that you never have to see them. What you experienced today wasn't war. It was a friendly reminder to check before you shoot. As she left, Pax'lo realized with absolute certainty, the hegemony hadn't just found another species. They'd found the one species in the galaxy they should never, ever provoke again.